She was here last week. Anyway, she's in the middle of a very public breakup with Trump. He's been tearing into her on social media, calling her Marjorie Taylor Greene, and even used her recent appearance on The View as proof she's gone far left. Yesterday, she told CNN the impact it's been having on her. Watch.
He called me a traitor, and that is so extremely wrong. And those are the types of words used that can radicalize people against me and put my life in danger.
It's not new. And with respect, I haven't heard you speak out about it until it was directed at you.
Dana, I think that's fair criticism. And I would like to say humbly, I'm sorry for taking part in the toxic politics.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, I don't think her life is in danger. Frankly, I don't think anybody cares about her.
Well, I don't know about that. He likes to say things like that. And, you know, putting the fear of God in her is not a very nice thing at all. I mean, now, because people on his team are now sending her threats. It's really disgraceful.
I'm not...
my God.
I'm surprised he's saying nobody cares about her, because I'm pretty sure his base is sending her the death threats and the...
well, who else?
And the nasty letters and the same things that many of us have been subjected to. I will tell you, I was shocked when she was here. I thought, you know, maybe a pod person was sitting here and Marjorie Taylor Greene, the real one, was in somebody's basement. I don't understand the shift, because I think at a big age, people at that big age, she's in her 50s, people don't change. They may change their behaviors to get something that they want, but I don't know that they fundamentally change.
Well, she's ambitious too, Sonny, let's be real.
There may be something behind this. Maybe she wants to run for governor. Maybe she wants to run for Senate. But I give her credit for saying, I took part in some of that toxicity, and I apologize.
Absolutely.
That takes a pretty big person to do that. So I'm still on the fence about her, but I don't know.
I'm happy to have her. You know, did you ever see the movie Casablanca?
Yes.
Yeah, great. See that movie?
Yeah.
At the end of the movie, Paul Henry says to Humphrey Bogart, welcome to the fight. Yeah. Now I know our side will win.
But you know what?
And that's how I feel about about her.
Big moments in life can change you, I would say. And on the heels of, she mentions Charlie Kirk and the assassination. I never watched that, but one, it's terrible enough not having seen the video, but a lot of people did. And she said, seeing this and knowing what time we're living in, it's time to go back, you know, to not that level of rhetoric. And I miss the good old days. The bottom line is no one in this country hates this country. No one is trying to destroy it, or at the end of the day, these people...
How do you know that?
Because I would argue that the people doing it actually have their own mission and a different way of getting there. I don't think people are sitting here...
You're not referring to domestic terrorists? Or
not extreme examples to everything, but I'm saying just because someone falls on the other side of the political spectrum does not mean they're trying to burn the house down. They actually believe in what they're saying and have a different way of getting there, with exceptions.
We also don't know these are Trump's people, right, that are attacking
and
her. She could be
we've
getting
seen
attacked from
people
all over
get,
the place.
Pelosi get attacked, but we've seen the right get attacked. But my point here is that you should be able to have a beer with someone you disagree with at the end of the day.
Well,
because they're not...
That ship has sailed.
I believe that it has to come back.
But I'd also remind people, when Marjorie Taylor Greene sat at this table, she still referred to Donald Trump as her favorite president of her lifetime.
She sure did.
She still voted with him 90%
Well, she's scared of him.
She said,
and for good reason.
I don't think that's true. I think she is with him on the majority of his policies, but I believe her fundamentally on two things. I think that she genuinely cares about the Epstein issue. I think that for her, it wasn't just about getting elected and getting retweets. She wants justice for women. And I believe with her on the issue of healthcare, because her family and her constituents personally saw their premiums skyrocket.
But she just said that when he called her Marjorie Taylor Greene, she started getting death threats. So she's scared of him.
Oh, I agree, but I do think she still supports him on most things. Yeah. That's my point, though.
I don't know. She doesn't. It just gets worse.
Yeah, but listen, the fact that, and it's absolutely true, you know, I can attest to this, when Donald Trump attacks you, it's like the gates of hell open up and every little demon goes through them and comes at you. So yes, that part is true. Do I think she's afraid? I don't think afraid. And I have said from the beginning that we should give her the benefit of the doubt. It doesn't mean we forget QAnon conspiracies. It doesn't mean we forget Jewish space lasers.
She never said Jewish space lasers. That's an important correction.
It doesn't mean that we forget some, you know, the way she acted at the State of the Union. It doesn't mean that we forget any of that. But it does mean that this is a new Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't think she's got anything to win from this. Listen, her district, her congressional district in Georgia is plus 20 Republican. That means that, there's a lot more Republicans. If Donald Trump actually does choose to primary her, it could cost her job.
Well, isn't that the reason that most Republicans in Congress don't go up against
And
her?
here's what she said.
They're scared to lose their job, and
here's
now
what she
maybe
tweeted.
threats.
But here's what she tweeted this weekend, and I think more Republicans need to think this way. I don't worship or serve Donald Trump. I worship God. Jesus is my savior, and I serve my district, Georgia 14, and the American people. Where are the other 200 Republicans that should be saying that?
Can I make a point, though? So Marjorie Taylor Greene was elected in 2020 and sworn in 2021. This is her first year serving as a member of Congress while Donald Trump is president. And I think she was an opposition figure in the Biden years. And when she heard from the pain of her constituents, they couldn't afford things, the border was insecure, she blamed that on the president. Now it's her guy who she believed in and thinks is the best president. And she's realizing, oh, wait, he's not perfect on everything, and I'm going to stand up for my constituents. I think it's admirable.
Well,
in
I'll
that
just
regard.
repeat. Welcome to the fight, Marjorie.